This thing rolls out.
In the day, there was a turbo version, as mentioned. This doesn't have all of that stuff, but what it does have is just kind of some old-fashioned Porsche goodness. What I mean by that is the steering.
So yes, in today's video, we're doing a little bit of automotive journalism, and I am far from a journalist and also far from a mechanic. But if you remember, this is where we left off last.
See if we can tighten it. And that seems to have fixed the problem. If we pour water on it now, no air bubbles. Look at this, I've got all my stats back. I've got my suspension modes and drive settings again.
Yes, this is the car that's hated by 987 chassis, Cayman, and Boxster enthusiasts, as well as many others all over the world, for being too fat and heavy, unresponsive, and ugly. And if you happen to be a 987 owner and you've made it this far in the video, and this car doesn't tickle your fancy, maybe my other one will. But the fact of the matter is that both the Panamera as well as the Cayenne helped save the Porsche brand by expanding into a more desired market, blending luxury car and sports car together. Since the last video, the car has been aligned by Fast Track, has 90% of the Maxton kit on, and the Vivid Racing tune installed. And what better way to test all of that out than with a 464-mile road trip.
So here we go. Our trip has begun. It's 3:30 in the morning on December 30th on a Monday.
And the point of this video is to test fuel economy, cost of 93, and reliability in my 650-ish horsepower 970.2 Panamera Turbo, as we embark on this 464-mile round trip to Manhattan. And to be brutally honest with you guys, I haven't fixed that shattered vacuum line yet that broke in the last video, but as you can see here, I do have the part to show you that I am somewhat responsible. 409. Why is the flash on?
We're on the road.
See you soon, Zach.
4 a.m.
First stop.
First stop.
Looking tit. I wish those splitters were on, but it is what it is.
It is 5:50 about in the morning. We're about 15 minutes away from Zach. It is pouring rain in the pitch black. We should be getting about 22 mpg. Yeah, there we go. Not bad for the old twin turbo V8. So far, for a touring car, I think it doesn't get much better than this. I mean, we could have taken an RS6 Avant. Sure, we could have been in a new 911, but back seat would be compromised even more than this. I mean, it's just about as good as it gets. We've been driving around in comfort for the engine and transmission, and we only ran into one mishap where we had to drive down a backcountry road for like 8 miles, and that was pretty treacherous, so I had to lift it back up. But we're riding around with the suspension in Sport Plus, and I mean, what do you think, Anthony?
No, we're going strong. We're going good.
Feels good.
Feels good. Smooth.
I mean, super relaxing. We're basically fully modified. The exhaust is straight through, and it's pretty nice in here. Really
It's a
good.
little dark.
A little bit dark. We'll figure out the MPG once we get to New York and see how fuel efficient it really is. The comfort has been good. The visibility has been bad. Made it to Zach alive. So we just ran into our first major problem. Broke the front splitter somewhere on the highway, or maybe at the gas station we were at. Damn it. And I suspect because it's wet, now we've got an engine light. So we'll see how she makes out. Oh no. Made it here, still with the engine light, never driving in the rain again. We're approaching our way to Times Square. What do you think, boys?
We made it.
So we made it out here in Times Square. Figured we'd check it out while we have some time to kill. She made it in one piece, we're in one piece. Only a couple minor mishaps. She doesn't like the rain. Got on MPG. Only about a quarter of a tank to get from Connecticut to here. And now we're gonna go get some food because we're pretty hungry. We're checking out big shifts. That's wild.
So while we toured the city a little bit, I parked the Panamera in a garage to give her the best possible chance of being safe. Now to recap, from my house to where we are now, it cost us $97 in fuel. I use 93 only, of course. And it took 226 miles, which is an average of $2.30 a mile. In other V8 twin-turbo cars we could have taken on this trip are the C7, Audi S or RS7, the Mercedes W222 S-Class, or the BMW F01 or F02 7 Series. However, the S and RS7 have vague driving feedback. The S-Class isn't as sport-oriented, and both that and the 7 Series aren't hatchbacks, so they slightly jeopardize practicality.
We're at 14:54, still December 30th.
Don't forget to file your W-2s.
So what did we just go to? A rooftop bar?
Rooftop bar.
Rooftop bar. Got a little banged up right now.
3 o'clock, we're going to escape room.
It's 3:14 in the afternoon. Zach,
Feels
tell
like
me,
I have
do
some
you
beer.
think we're gonna escape their escape
We're
room?
not getting out of this one. We're gonna be in there. We're gonna be go full blown.
Since we're doing automotive journalism here, I've decided to pull up the stats for, in my opinion, the Panamera Turbo's 3 competitors. Here you can see on the screen, from left to right, is the Audi RS7, the Mercedes S63, and to make the BMW a little more even, I pulled up a 760 Li. Obviously, my car is modified, so it doesn't compare with these car stats now, but stock, it actually makes the least amount of horsepower. Here, I've also compiled a list of all 4 cars based on cargo space, weight, and fuel capacity. 1 being the best, 4 being the worst. And like I mentioned earlier, the back seats in the Mercedes and the BMW do not fold down. So those numbers actually come from the back seats folded down in the Audi and the Porsche. But if we measure all 4 cars with the back seats up, the Porsche actually drops to 3rd and the Mercedes goes to 2nd. And interesting enough, if you pause the video for that part, you can actually see that the BMW and the Mercedes are tied for fuel capacity at 21 gallons in the tank. Now, I find all of that information a little bit interesting because I'm a major nerd, but tell me in the comments, which one of those 4 cars would you rather have? In my honest opinion, I still think I'm picking a Panamera Turbo or a Turbo S or an Audi S7 or an RS7.
No more check engine light. So guys, she managed to fix herself. I suspect it was just too much water getting in one of the plugs or maybe even the intake. I'm not exactly sure. But on our way there, we drove through extremely heavy rain. Now the check engine light is completely off. Obviously, this car is modified. It's not a perfect example to compare to even say just a stock Panamera Turbo, which is very comfortable. Obviously not the best Porsche chassis, but really pretty good. I would recommend immediately lowering one of these chassis. It'll help you significantly. There's a company in Poland that makes polyurethane bushings with upgraded suspension parts. We are driving her, except for on really rough roads, like the New York Highway. We put her in sport or comfort. But most of the time, we've been riding around in Sport Plus. It's just a lovely Grand Tour.
The reality is that it's unlikely to push this chassis past its limits without it telling you that you're doing too much. Now, whether you prefer a stick-shift 2-door sports car or a luxury Grand Tourer, that's completely up to you. Personally, it's hard to choose, and it's exactly why I own both. Though very controversial, I like the Panamera's unique styling. It's one of the lightest in its class, and the steering feedback and the brand's sporty heritage make up for the fact that an air spring will never feel like a coil spring, and the chassis will never feel like a 911 Cayman or Boxster.
So this is really impressive that we were averaging 21.4 mpg in a twin turbo V8, considering at some points we were being nice to her, at some points we weren't being so nice to her. Driving it a little bit spirited, a little bit fun.
So, the summary. The fuel to get there and back was $96 cheaper than one train ticket. And who the hell is taking the bus nowadays? Averaging just under 21 miles to the gallon, which isn't quite as good as the EPA rated 24 miles to the gallon on the highway. However, we did manage to consume less fuel than the actual mileage we traveled and increase our fuel capacity when the tank is full by almost 30% from start to end.
You're making some other guy's day. Every time I do shit for you, you got me looking like a fool.
I try to be honest with you guys on this channel about all the drama I deal with on the cars, and especially this car, and I promise I don't make any of it up. And from our New York adventure, look at this. Yeah, that's not supposed to be loose. So, now we got to fix it. And those downpipes that you saw earlier, yeah, they've still got to go in. And that means one more video to be made.
There is just one bolt behind this.
Now, we have a very sturdy mirror.